Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about how I got into a top-ranked business grad school. So in the fall, this fall, 2020, I'm going to grad school to get my MBA, so Master's of Business Administration. So I just wanted to talk about how I got into grad school and hopefully that'll help you get into grad school. So business is a little bit different than other grad schools just because typically they want you to have some sort of work experience, and if you don't, it's kind of harder for you to get in unless you have a lot of things like internships or just other things that you did throughout college. So me specifically, I went into college undergrad and I started out as a bio major, quickly realized that that was not for me, and I double majored in Homeland Security and Political Science. After completing those two degrees, I decided that I didn't want to go further into school and I really just wanted to work, start making a salary, and then take a couple years, get some experience out in the real world, and then go back to school. I was kind of up in the air of what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to do law school or business or anything else. I kind of thought about maybe going further with my political science degree or my Homeland Security degree, but I just realized that neither one of those were really leading me to the path that I wanted to go. So I decided to go for business because I feel like it's the most well-rounded degree that you can have, and there's so many job opportunities that you can have with it. So here are my little tips. Before I start, don't forget to like and subscribe. I don't have to tell you, I know. Follow me on Instagram, do all that good stuff. Thank you very much. All right, let's get into it. The first thing that I did was research. Research is so important. You need to research schools. You need to know what you want to do, how you want to do it, where you want to do it. My big thing is I didn't want to do online school. I wanted it to be in person, full time. I wanted to have the interaction. I wanted to have the students, the faculty, and be able to interact with people that way. So I decided, one, full-time program, and two, I wanted to be able to commute. I didn't want to have to move out of the area that I already live in. So after doing a whole bunch of research, I narrowed my search down to 2 schools, and then I just started researching within those 2 schools what I wanted to do. So the 2 schools that I was down to was UVA, the University of Virginia, and William & Mary. So I really liked what I saw from both schools, but honestly I was a little bit worried about UVA, about not being able to get in, to be honest, because their GPA was a lot higher than any other school in the area, and although I did well in college within my major, overall my GPA was kind of low because I totally bombed my freshman year just because I was a bio major. I sucked at it, hence why I switched. So I have these 2 other majors that I did really well in, but I just wasn't sure if the schools were looking for a well-rounded student or if they just were looking for that specific GPA. I just wasn't sure what they were going to look at, so it kind of concerned me to apply there, to be honest. I then did some research on William & Mary. Their GPA to get in was in the same range, but it was like just a touch lower. Sorry about the lighting, it's funky outside. We're just going to deal with it so I don't have to keep changing it. Anyway, back to William & Mary. Their GPA requirements, just a touch lower. I felt a little bit more confident with it, and for some reason I've always had this vendetta against UVA, and I think it's because my mom wanted me to go to UVA so bad and I just didn't want to go. I don't know, I guess I'm just a rebel teen. So I started researching William & Mary, their stats, test scores, GPA, what I needed to do to get in, topics that I needed to hit in my essays. So William & Mary had 2 different essays. One was optional. So basically the first one was why William & Mary, basically why you would be a good fit for them, why they would be a good fit for you. So I talked about that, but I also integrated things like why my freshman year of college was so bad, and just like among other things, kind of how I got to the decision of me wanting to pursue an MBA, because it seems kind of out of left field considering I did 2 completely unrelated majors. So I talked about that in my essay, and I talked about how you can clearly see that after I switched majors, my grades went up exponentially. So I just made myself look really good, to be honest, and that's what the essays are there for. Sometimes they just want you to write a personal statement, and in this one I tried to kind of do both, and then the second one was any other information that you would want them to know. And I wrote something, I don't remember what, but it was probably just, it was like something that I've done within my job, I think. That's sad that I already don't remember, but it was a couple months ago. Next, there are tests. So there's the GRE and the GMAT. Those are the two big tests that people typically take as far as going to grad school. So dependent on whether you are a business major before applying to a business grad school is kind of how you should determine whether you should do the GRE or GMAT. So from doing research, it was mentioned that the GRE is better suited for people who don't have a background in business, and then the GMAT is more so suited for people who do have a background in business. So it just depends on your school's test scores, and you know, study and take the test. So the next thing I did was submitted my application. I know, crazy. So after you submit your application, you either get an interview or you don't. So an interview is just the next step. Typically they do it in person, but due to the coronavirus, am I allowed to say that? The interview was supposed to be in person, but due to the state of the world, I did mine over Skype. So it began very awkward, because why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it be awkward for me? So I was all intent on using my laptop, but my boyfriend was like, oh no, use my big desktop, the quality's so much better. Well, as soon as I answered, the guy could not hear me at all. So he called me on the phone, so we were like face to face, and then we were also on the phone so we could hear each other. So awkward and embarrassing, but we got through it pretty quickly. So it was more so like a conversation rather than an interview. Obviously he asked me questions, but he also made it feel comfortable. So first he was just like, hi, my name is blank. I'll say Steve. Hi, my name's Steve. I'm from Pennsylvania, and I went to and I was like, he's from Pennsylvania? I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm getting into William and Mary. I mean, that's at least what was, going on in my mind. So we talked. I told him, where I was from. I talked to him about my college career, kind of what I did with that, the jobs that I had, the things that I did, what I got involved in, and then I talked about my current job and all the things that I did for that, just different awards that I've gotten over the years. And once again, make yourself look good, but also do research. If you can, do research on the person who's going to interview you, or do research just on the school, because what I did was a ton of research on the school about things that I liked, things that I didn't like, and I told him all of that stuff in the interview. I also emphasized alumni or people that were already in the program, because at least as far as William and Mary, they had a whole page of just things that alumni are doing now, their bios. So I brought up different alumni to show that I did my research. I think it's really important to bring up something that not every student is going to bring up. So I don't know, if there's a certain program that the school has but that everyone kind of knows about it, you probably shouldn't be like, oh yeah, I like this program, because it's like probably everyone's going to say that. So you need to be unique, and you need to be innovative with your thoughts and ideas, and you don't want to be like everyone else. You want to stand out because you want them to remember you. If you can be the first interviewer, be the first interview. If you want to be the last, be the last. But do something to make a good impression. That is probably the most important thing, is make a good impression. Make yourself seem unique. Don't give the same generic answers that everybody else is going to give, because then you become just another file across their desk. Sure, it looks good to have good grades and good test scores, but it's so much better to be memorable and personable and have them remember you for that. Yeah, I hope those tips were helpful. That's really all I've got. I mean, it's what I did to get into school, and not that I wasn't expecting to get in, but I wasn't expecting to get in, but I also wasn't expecting to get denied. I don't know. It was really up in the air for me. I just wasn't sure. I didn't know if my grades were good enough, if my scores were good enough. I really think it was the interview that set me apart from the rest, because honestly, my overall GPA was fairly average. Like I said, I didn't do too well my freshman year. My major grades were good, like my Homeland Security GPA was good and my political science GPA was good, but overall pretty average, like 3.2-ish range. And you know, that's how the cookie crumbles. So if you're average, above average, below average, whatever it is that you are, I would suggest applying, doing really well on your test scores, and then killing the interview, because they want diversity. They want people with strong personalities, people who are going to take charge, and people that they think are going to make a good member of their class. So if you have those qualities, I suggest you apply to whatever grad school you want. And that's it. Good luck to you if you are applying, and I hope these tips helped, like I said. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.